On today's episode, my next project is this Bixler trainer. Due to the appalling weather recently and high winds for over 2 weeks, it's still patiently waiting for its maiden flight. But already I'm thinking about using it as a camera platform. These Bixlers are renowned for being able to carry quite a lot of weight on the front here. Removing the canopy, on Thingiverse I found a suitable replacement which will sit on there and just be held in place with an elastic band that goes all the way around. And I've partnered that with this 3D printed case for my Firefly 8. I shall be doing a full review of this camera in a later video, but suffice it to say it's a nice 2K camera, only 2K. There is a 4K version, in fact there are two. This is Firefly 8. There is an 8S and an 8SE. On my friend's channel in Brazil, Mario is using one of these to film his videos. So I'll put a link to that and you can go and see the quality of the 8SE versus this one. Rather than just let it automatically film everything, which can lead to an editing nightmare trying to sort out the footage, I thought it would be a great idea to be able to control the camera remotely using my transmitter. And indeed Hawkeye do provide such a cable. But when I was looking at this on the internet, there seemed to be quite a large number of questions about how it worked and the voltage that it would support and other questions. I think the questions arise because this is the only instruction manual, if you will. Pretty much you need a magnifying glass to be able to read any of it, but I'll take you through and explain what it can and what it cannot do. In this video I'm going to connect this up, show how it's configured to the transmitter and how it controls the camera. Clearly it just plugs in here, and you can see that they've left room so that you can still use the HDMI out, although that's not something that I want to do. And I guess I should have mentioned one of the other features is not only can you control it remotely, it will give you an FPV feed so that you can actually see the footage from the aircraft. Let's take a look now at the enlarged version of the datasheet. We can go through the specification and the connections. How to use. Connect the control module to power supply. Voltage must be larger than 5 volts or it can't work. Clearly the camera interface, being USB, is looking for 5 volts, but on the board here there is a regulator, and over here we can see that it's rated from 2S to 6S LiPo cells. I'm using it with a 3S pack, which is just over 11 volts, so that should be fine. Also on the same connector there is the video output and a ground, and it says connect to transmitter. That means connect it to the video transmitter. Secondly, use a 3-way toggle switch on the transmitter and keep the switch at the middle position before powering up. I'll show you how that works on my Tyrannus. Power up toggle switch up to take one photo, and then back to the middle and up to take another photo. So that's quite straightforward. Toggle the switch down and stay still, or leave it in the down position to record videos, and then switch it up when you wish to stop the recording. So that's quite straightforward. Now in the troubleshooting this has caused some confusion for people. Make sure 3-way switch has output signal. Well, okay. Let the 3-way switch stay at the middle and the camera stay idle, and try again. Not quite sure what that's supposed to mean. Toggle up, pulse width is 1 millisecond, middle 1.5 milliseconds and down 2 milliseconds. That simply refers to the pulse width modulated signal coming from the 3-way switch. You may need to reverse that depending on your transmitter. And lastly, the other connection clearly goes to your receiver, which is receiving the signals from the 3-way switch on your transmitter. Now that I've explained all that, let's see how it's wired up in practice. The video transmitter that I shall be using is somewhat of a vintage. It still works very well, and the weight's not going to be a problem for the Bixler. So that's going to be stuck on the back of the 3D printed replacement canopy. There's the power lead, and I've spliced a JST into the ESC power, so that will be powered when the battery's connected. On this transmitter the power is fed through and comes out to power the camera on the connector here, which is a 5-way connector. Remembering that the connection is from right to left ground plus volts and the video signal, quite remarkably this is already in the same configuration. I don't think I've ever found that before. I've always had to rewire something, but that just plugs straight in there. Fantastic. The other lead now needs to go to a spare channel on our receiver. The next spare channel here is channel 5 with the signal lead at the top. Let's plug that in. Let's turn our attention now to the transmitter setup. On my transmitter I like to keep the flight control switches on the left hand side here, so the throttle arming and the dual rates are on this side, and here is our 3-position switch which I'm going to assign to control the camera. Clearly on your transmitter things may work differently. All that I have done is on the inputs down the bottom here, the input 5 I've assigned to the SD switch. We can see at the top of the screen as I toggle that from the center position upwards goes to -100 and the center position downwards goes to +100. We can see that again if we go from the front page and look at the channel monitor. You can see there on the channel 5 the switch activating. As per the instructions, we have our output signal. Firstly, switching our transmitter on,
throttle disabled,
and putting the switch into the center position. Now we can power the model on. And now we can see the video feed coming from the camera. Fantastic. Now if I put the switch up to take a photo, and down, and up, takes another photo, and down the way should start the video, as indeed it does. So everything is working well. Let's see if we can get a better picture for you. Here we can see I've braved the outside world for a moment just to give you some better idea of the potential footage. I've set up the transmitter, we're in the center position, so now if we switch up it takes our stills. Let's take another one, and now if we switch down it's starting to record the video. So there we are, a successful test of the camera control via the transmitter, and I can't wait for the wind to die down and go and fly this thing properly.